Hey there, Taurus. Welcome to your reading for the week of October 3rd. I had to check, but we're going to jump right in here, and we are going to see what is going on in general for you this week in this first row here. In your next row, we're going to see what you don't see coming this week, if there's anything hidden or secret or, whatever coming out right here. In your last row, we're going to see if there are any messages from your future self in this last row here. And then on top of that, you have two cards here, Taurus. Actually, I threw one of them. It was the Nine of Pentacles. But we're also going to double clarify this reading, kind of like I did last week. And on top of that, I'm going to pull three cards at the end. I'm not going to do yes, no, maybe. I'm going to give you time to think of one question. I'm going to answer it as if I know what your question is, even though I don't. So we'll see how that works. But you start here with the Thinker in your general energies. You have a lot of Swords cards here. 2 of Swords, 5 of Swords, 8 of Swords, 4 of Swords. Very mental energy, of course. You could say that, these energies are kind of like stuck energies, especially 2 of Swords. I mean, really all of them, except for the 5 of Swords. Really, I feel this is mental. Oh, you also have the King of Swords. Didn't even see him. So, too much thinking is what I would say here. I actually think that your solution, I don't think this is a bad reading, funny enough. Is it amazing? No. But is it terrible? Also no. I would say that your solution is really that 5 of Swords. I feel like that 5 of Swords is saying it's time for you to take a risk. You have this Gate card. It says, a barrier keeps you from your goal. I feel like the barrier is your brain here, Taurus. So, again, I feel like you need to go up here. Again, this Thinker card, you can see it's almost as if she's kind of ascended these levels that's on the card, and she needs to get up to this next level. And I feel like you're just ready to level up here, Taurus. You have the 2 of Swords, the Knight of Cups, and the King of Swords. This could be love coming in for you here. Although, again, I feel like you have a lot of stuff on your mind, and that's perfectly acceptable, as I always say. I don't think we need love in our life. I think it is helpful. I think it's a good thing that we should experience if we want to, but, do we need it? I would say probably not, but what I would say here is I feel like it's available if you want it. But again, I feel for the most part that you're doing a lot of thinking this week. Knight of Cups is like some sort of dream, goal, wish that you have. He's normally looking into that cup, and he's like imagining his future life. All he has to do is plant seeds in front of this river right here. He's standing in a desert, but it kind of represents the fact that even though he's standing in the desert, there's still water right in front of him. He can still plant his dreams. He can still, get to work no matter what he wants to work on. You have the 2 of Swords here, stuck in, kind of like an indecisive energy. There's a lot of this going on right now. All the retrogrades I don't think are very helpful. But as I always say with her, it's like you need to get to this new island behind you here. And that new island just represents a new island, new ideas, new thoughts, new opportunities, pretty much anything new. And that's where I feel like you need to get to, is like getting out of this stuck energy and moving on to something new. Really, I also feel like part of your solution to this week in general is the King of Swords. He's very decisive. He just makes a decision. He doesn't really care like what's right or wrong. He does care what's right or wrong, but he doesn't care if he's wrong in a decision that he makes, right? He just knows that he can make another decision, right? And so, it's like I always tell people, sometimes I think it's just better to make a mistake, even if it's a mistake, because at least you made a decision and you can make more decisions. It's kind of like the whole thought of, there are like several baseball players who have like the most home runs, and they're not necessarily the best baseball players, right? A lot of them just swing the bat more than anyone else. And so I kind of get that feeling here with the King of Swords, where it's not so much about like making good decisions necessarily. And again, I'm not saying you're making bad decisions either, but, I think it's more about just making decisions to do something. And, it's kind of like realizing that the more you swing the bat, the more chances you're giving yourself. Here you go. With the 2 of Swords, you have the Magician. See, you manifested an opportunity, or are manifesting an opportunity to ascend this week, is really what I feel. It's like you're leveling up. Maybe that will give you more comfort. Literally, that's what's popping into my head, is maybe just understanding or knowing that you manifested the opportunity, or where you're at in your life, whatever's in front of you. That could be the thing that motivates you to action. So I feel like you need to get moving. If we put him down, he's pointing across here, and there's a person receiving blessings on the 4 of Swords. It's like you have manifested these blessings in your life. With the Knight of Cups, you have the Five Wands, another card of taking a risk, by the way. Five Wands is my card I call Indiana Jones. To me, it's a card of like going on some sort of crazy adventure to get something that you want. So, I would encourage you to go on an adventure. Five Wands, it's a card of conflict and competition, but it can represent an adventure because these people are learning on the card. They're not necessarily fighting. They're learning how to fight. And it can say sometimes we have to kind of like learn how to do something before we're actually successful at doing it, right? And so I feel for a lot of you that you could be in this like learning period in your life. This could be in any area of your life, you could even be, I think a lot of you could, if this is love, if you want love, for example, you could be doing a lot of thinking about like, what the past relationships have taught you. And you could be seeing that, a lot of the people, whether they were a positive influence or a negative influence in your life, they at least taught you something and it's like leading to something better. With the King of Swords, you have the Ten of Swords right here again. A lot of swords energy. Pretty much everyone had the Tower this week so far, except for you. But again, we're not done clarifying yet. So, there's just like weird Tower stuff going on. There could be some endings, or you could be experiencing, some endings in your life in general. Next, in the area of what you don't see coming, you have the Sacred Reverence card. This is a card of like something that you're holding true to yourself, and maybe you didn't necessarily realize that something was so important to you. And I also feel like something is like ascending in your life. I don't really have a good like idea of like how to word what I want to say here for you, Taurus, but it's almost as if something is becoming more important to you, or you're realizing something's importance to your life. And it kind of feels like something you do. It could be like a daily practice. It could be a business that you have or a job, but I feel you're kind of like getting to the juice, like you're getting to it's almost as if you're taking something and you're getting to the meat of it is how I feel on this card. It's like, let's say you have a business, I feel like you're realizing the important bits, the things that are super important, the things that people actually want to purchase from you, for example, or maybe you're offering a service. I feel like you're kind of looking at like, how can I package this to present it to the world, right? I feel like I said this to you. Didn't I say this to you in your, I think I said this to you in your October reading. I'm getting like I'm having deja vu now that I'm saying it. So that would make sense to me. It's almost like you're figuring out what people actually want. And again, for some of you, this could be love. You could be figuring out how to present yourself to people. You have the Five of Pentacles, the Three of Cups, and the Five of Swords. Five of Pentacles says, do not call attention to your weaknesses. It says you need to focus on your strengths. And that's exactly what I would be doing if I were you. I would just be focusing on what you can do, not on what you can't do. I think we spend way too much time, focusing on our weaknesses in general. So I'd say, whatever you feel like you're good at or whatever in life, that's what I'd be focusing on with this card. I wouldn't be worrying like, especially in business, it's popping into my head. It's like maybe you're listening to some business expert that's like, oh, you have to be on TikTok, but maybe you hate TikTok. I feel like this is saying, no, follow your heart. Like what do you want to do? What are you strong at? Maybe you're better at writing or something like that. I would focus on your strengths. That's what I'm getting there. With the Five of Swords, I definitely would be taking some sort of risk at this time. Again, the risk for you is going to be exposure. This is true for most people right now. As I've been saying, we're entering into the age of Aquarius, really like stronger Aquarius energy. And to me, the biggest risk we can take is being exposed, being our own little star. I'm going to keep saying this for the next, for as long as I have a YouTube channel, basically. We're putting ourselves out into the world right now. And so, we could be exposed, and it's kind of like a good bad thing because we could be fearing that we're going to be exposed for, being a fraud or being wrong about something or not understanding things like we think people think we should and all this other stuff. But it's like the people that are brave enough to do that are going to be very successful. This includes like love. So it's like maybe the risk of being exposed by telling someone you're in love with them or just going on a date in the first place. Could be the risk of being exposed in business, like we already talked about. Could be anything else as well. Could be like the risk of failure. Like maybe you want to start working out or getting healthy, but you're afraid that if you do that, people are going to see you fail and, all this other stuff. So, we might be feeling those pressures more, but I want to encourage you to do those things, take the risk because it's definitely going to be worth it. I feel you're going to find your tribe as well. You have the Three of Cups. And I do feel this is kind of like unexpected because like what's popping into my head is especially for those that have a business, it's like you might think that, a group over here are your people. You might think that there's a certain, belief pattern or something. And that's what's popping into my head. I'm trying to zone out to grab onto the message here, but it kind of strikes me that you're looking over here at like some group of people, but there's actually a group of people over here that might be better. It's kind of like, it's interesting because it's like popping into my head as like men versus women. That's not what this is, Taurus, but I'm just giving you the intuitive message, right? It's like there's some sort of difference in like the two groups. So let's say you have a business, maybe you think you're meant to like target, super spiritual people, but maybe you're actually meant to target something else, right? Or something like that. I don't know. It's popping into my head as like you finding, like getting more specific, kind of getting more granular with the type of people that you're bringing into your business or whatever. That doesn't mean that there won't be other people that come into your business or whatever, whatever you're doing here. But, again, there's some sort of difference popping into my head. By the way, for those of you that want love, again, that 3 cups to me is saying like get out there and date. I feel like it could be a good time for dating. With the 5 of Pentacles, you have the 8 of Swords. Again, see, you need to see that there are other opportunities for you, Taurus, is what I would say here. 8 of Swords is self-imposed restriction. You have this card twice in your reading, and 8 of Swords, she could easily set herself free. She's also standing in the shallow pool of water, and, it kind of represents shallow emotions, or represents the fact that she's not actually stuck. She could easily set herself free, so I feel like you need to set yourself free here. With the 3 of Cups, you have the Page of Cups. Again, I feel love here. Again, for you, for whatever reason, I feel like a very strong need to put yourself out there for love. And again, that could be a risk for you, or it feels like a risk, but I would take the risk if you want love. Obviously, if you don't, take it how it resonates. But I do feel there's love available to you. This could be an admirer. Definitely could be a knight in shining armor. But again, it feels like a risk. 5 of Wands, clarifying that Knight of Cups, and the 5 of Swords. With the 5 of Swords, you have the Devil. The Devil tells me that the risk could be because of past relationships. Maybe you're kind of looking at past relationships and you're saying, like, I don't want to experience that again. It's funny because, just lately I've been feeling this a lot where, I think people could be thinking about past relationships and being like, oh, I don't want to be hurt again. But again, I feel like we should be, it's almost like, we should be switching it in our head, which I think is always true, but it seems more true than ever, where we should be saying to ourselves, no, those people taught me a lot, so it's like I should be getting my reward for, the pain that I went through or the breakups or the heartbreaks and things like that. The reward being a better person. So sometimes I think we're afraid to get into a new relationship because we're like, did I really learn lessons? Or am I just going to repeat the same old mistake? And it's like, well, if you learn, then you're not, right? So I would just pay attention to those things. Could also be a Capricorn coming in for some of you. Next in the area, what are we doing here? Oh, messages from your future self. You have this gate card. It says a barrier keeps you from your goal. I think the barrier is just, again, taking a risk. We're going to obviously look more into this. We're going to clarify it again. So we'll get more answers here, but I really feel this is a self-imposed barrier. And so it doesn't really exist with that 8 of Swords. And I also, with the 4 of Swords, like I said, I feel there are some blessings coming in for you here, Taurus. So there could be kind of some removal of this barrier. You have the 4 of Swords, the 8 of Swords, the 7 of Wands, and the 9 of Pentacles. Again, the Magician is pointing over to this 4 of Swords. The 4 of Swords, there's a person who is receiving blessings from another person in this window. So I always look at it as a card of praying or hoping or praying like he is doing here for blessings. So I kind of feel that for some of you. I almost feel the opposite with the swords here as well. You can see that there's this sword below him. Sometimes I feel like he almost needs to grab onto that sword below him. And it's kind of like saying he needs to use that sword for something. It could be like he needs to use, that's maybe one final like thought that he has about whatever he's hoping and praying for. He just needs to take action with that sword. I almost feel like these swords, like, see, they're really standing out to me that they're pointing down towards you. Like as if that's you. They're pointing down towards your body here, Taurus, which is interesting. I feel like these are thoughts that are floating above your head. I feel one thought needs to be grabbed onto and made real, but we're going to dig into that more in just a second. You have the 8 of Swords. Again, she could easily set herself free. Again, there's something here with the swords, clearly. She could easily lean up against these swords, the 8 swords behind her, and then she could take her blindfold off. The story of the 8 of Swords is that she has been put out into these swords. She's standing at low tide, right? There's sand around her, but eventually the water is going to come up and she's going to drown if she doesn't set herself free. That's the whole point of the 8 of Swords. But if she was smart, she would lean up against those swords, she would take her blindfold off, and she would realize there's no one around her. She feels like there are people around her. That's the story of the 8 of Swords. She feels like there are people there that are preventing her from leaving those swords, but there actually isn't. She is alone on this card. She could easily set herself free. So again, kind of like another message of risk, like feeling like people maybe are criticizing you, or feeling like there are going to be people that could be there to criticize you that actually aren't there. So there's something here about like self-criticism, or, feeling like you're going to be criticized about a risk that you're about to take or something that you're about to do. I don't think it exists, is what I would say to you. You have the Seven of Wands and the Nine of Pentacles, probably the most important part of your reading. I feel like everything around here is junk. The rest of the reading doesn't exist, right? And this is what you should focus on. I feel like you need to focus on your beliefs. Seven of Wands is a card of conviction. It's a card of knowing that you know that you're going to be successful, knowing that you know that something is for you. When you believe something that deeply, then you will be successful. Nine of Pentacles is a card of your environment. There's a snail right here by my finger, and snails wear their homes on their back. So snails represent your environment, and focusing on your environment. To me, the Nine of Pentacles is basically Uranus and Taurus. Uranus and Taurus is all about luxuries and gratitude and, nicer things in your life and creating nice things in your life. That's what I would focus on. I would eject all thoughts that aren't gratitude, luxuries, the nicer things in life, right? I would be focusing on all those good things, is what I'd say here. I don't know. Weird reading, but I like it. With the Four of Swords, here you go. You have the Three of Pentacles. Three of Cups, Three of Pentacles. This, to me, right here says, teamwork makes the dream work. Every single earth sign that I read for has been getting these cards of kind of like teamwork makes the dream work. So I'd make sure that you're working together with other people or doing things with other people. I get this feeling of like, can I do it? Here's the thing. Is that there's a fire triangle up here and there's a water triangle right here. The water triangle on the Three of Pentacles to me kind of represents the icing on the cake. It's like that, just that one extra thing. Like, can I take something to the next level? Which I feel like your first card is really asking you to do. I feel like that first card is really saying you need to bring something up, I don't know. I hope this makes sense. Probably not. With the Eight of Swords, you have the King of Pentacles, you showing up in a very strong position. With the Eight of Swords, you're much stronger than you realize. I definitely feel that in this reading. With the Seven of Wands and Nine of Pentacles, you have the Seven of Pentacles. 2 sevens is internal fears don't exist. And, really, I feel like you need to let go of your fears. You're about to be making, I feel like you're about to make, this big level up change here, Taurus. Is a very simple reading, actually. And I just feel like you need to do it, not worry what people think. I also would say the other thing is again, I get that 2 thing. It's like maybe, and especially for those of you in business, but it could be in some other area of your life as well, like love. Maybe you think you're attracted to one type of person, but it's actually another type of person, right? But you just haven't experienced them yet, like the other type of person, right? So I kind of feel like this is saying stay open to, just random opportunities, things like that, and stay open to, exploring different ways of, exposing yourself. Don't go around exposing yourself, Taurus, but, exposing yourself to different groups of people. You might surprise yourself. With the Two of Swords and the Magician, we're doing a clarification now with the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. You have this patience card. I feel this is saying you have been very patient for a very long time. I actually feel like things are coming together. Again, she kind of reminds me of the Empress or even the lady on the Nine of Pentacles. She looks very similar to her, this lady right here. So, to me, I feel this is saying things are actually coming together and, you've been very patient for these changes that are going to be happening. With the Knight of Cups and the Five of Wands, you have the card of convention. I'm telling you right now, I've been saying this card keeps coming up, and I keep telling people, convention is going to be our own worst enemy. Convention represents the way things have always been done. So we need to open up to just other ways of doing everything. I really feel that, entering into the age of Aquarius, if we do things, so if we open up to different ways of doing things, we'll be much more successful. We have to get away from this conventional energy. And, I keep encouraging people to find what I call third place solutions, but there might be more than 3 places. It's like, if you notice everything in the world right now, it's like this side, that side, but it's like, really, maybe there's something better in the middle, 3 of Pentacles, right? Maybe it's not in the middle. Maybe there's just better ideas that exist somewhere over here, which could be a crazy idea that you come up with that could change the world. So there you go. With the King of Swords and the Ten of Swords, you have the enthusiasm card. Again, I feel this is something that needs to be cultivated, is the word that's popping into my head for you this week. I feel like you need to focus on being happy, being enthusiastic, and I feel like you need to focus on the things that make you feel enthusiastic as well. Again, this bottom row here is really telling me cut out the crap and focus on the things in your environment that make you happy. I feel like if you do that, you'll be very successful at this time. With the Five of Pentacles and the Eight of Swords, you have this protection card. Again, you are protected from anything. You're worrying about things, which I've basically been talking about this whole entire time without actually saying it, but I feel like you're worrying about things that you don't have to worry about. They should be letting go of with the Five of Pentacles and the Eight of Swords. These are self-imposed restrictions, right? Things that you're worried about that are holding you back. It's like this happens, again, I think really that a really good book for everyone. I'm probably going to do a video on it. I say probably because, I don't know, I'm so bad at this, but I'm so bad at this YouTube game. But what I would say is, I want to do a video on one of my favorite books of all time, which is The War of Art. And it's not The Art of War. And everybody always corrects me. No, I'm talking about The War of Art, not The Art of War. Yes, I understand there's a book called The Art of War. This is a totally different book, and it's all about resistance. And, I really feel that here with the Five of Pentacles. He talks about how it's like artists, and you don't even have to be an artist. You could just be wanting to start a business, starting a relationship, right? Creating anything you want to create. It's like when we get very close to being successful, there's like a lot of resistance that comes up. But there's like nothing there that's stopping us. That's kind of like how I feel for you right there. And I would read that book if I were you. If you haven't read it already, it's an amazing book. I read it like every week, literally, no joke. Well, I don't read it. I listen to it on Audible. But with the Three of Cups and the Page of Cups, you have this discrimination card. Again, this card's been coming up a lot. Again, Esther Hicks calls this sifting and sorting, which is where it's like, and I don't think this is talking about discrimination like racism or sexism or something like that. I feel like it's talking about you being discriminating. And again, not in a bad way. People always take it there. I'm always like, that's not what this is talking about. This is talking about you taking in information into your life, and it's like you're saying, okay, these things are good for me, these things are bad for me in all areas of my life, food, relationships, businesses. I really feel it could just be one of those weeks where maybe you're more Four of Swords, maybe you're more withdrawn, which is perfectly acceptable, and maybe you're just kind of like going through your life and saying, these things are good for me, these things are bad for me, I want more good things. So what do? You just move your focus to the good stuff, plain and simple. With the Five of Swords and the Devil, here you go. We have the Fortune card. Again, there could be great fortunes coming in for you. This could be mentally or physically. I'm also getting like Leo here. You have several Leo cards showing up in this deck. So actually you don't, just this one. Oh, no, you have Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries. Could be a fire sign coming in for you if you want love. But I definitely feel there could be a lot of fortune coming in for you, or like good fortunes. With the Four of Swords and the Three of Pentacles, every single person has had this card, this adaptability card. So, it's crazy. This deck has like a million cards in it, and this card keeps coming up. Again, to me, it makes perfect sense with the age of Aquarius. We have to be adaptable. Again, people who learn how to adapt to the changing situations are going to be very successful. And it's not as hard as you think, and it's much more exciting than you think. Again, I think the universe is maybe trying to make our lives more exciting. And that's what I would be embracing. I would be embracing new situations and letting go and just shedding. It can be very uncomfortable, but I feel once we jump into it and just realize that we're just kind of like, shedding layers and going through this transition, then I think it becomes a lot easier. With the Eight of Swords and the King of Pentacles, again, you have this power card. Definitely stepping into your power. I feel like you could be gaining a lot of power and abundance. So I love to see this. I feel this is very good for you. And with the Seven of Wands, Seven of Pentacles, and the Nine of Pentacles, you cannot make this stuff up. I'm going to show you over here. Look, you have this risk card with the Three of Pentacles on it as well, basically. So I would be taking a risk if I were you, for sure. Again, this is probably the risk of exposure, pretty simple reading. Even this card here, it has the sun on it shining onto the earth. So like I said, this reading is pretty clear to me that you're putting something out into the earth, into the world, whatever it is. Could be like a creative project, business, whatever. And I feel like it's going to be very successful for you, Taurus. I love this reading. So we're going to pull 3 cards now. I want you to think of one question that you have, and I'm going to attempt to answer it as if it's a personal reading. And I don't know. We're going to see how this works. So again, feel free to pause the reading if you need to think of a question. But you have are you ready for this? You have the Three of Pentacles, the Empress, and the Wheel of Fortune. Whatever you're working on, whatever you're asking about is going to be extremely successful, and I feel like it's going to change your fortunes. I mean, this is basically the reading in a nutshell right here. Definitely a lot of abundance coming in for you with this energy. I would work on a team with the Three of Pentacles, whatever you're asking about. I also, what's popping into my head is if you're asking about a relationship, I feel like there needs to be a solid plan with that Three of Pentacles is what's popping into my head. Like you need to, I would just get all expectations, out on the table up front. I feel some of you could be asking about either getting into a new relationship or a new relationship. I feel like you're either already in one or you're about to get into one. And again, I feel like everything needs to be kind of like put out onto the table. I think that will kind of clear up any confusion in the future with this energy, but a lot of abundance coming in for you as well. I love this reading. I actually like where this is going. Again, just get out of your head, plain and simple. Looks pretty good. So thank you for being here, Taurus. Really appreciate it. Make sure to watch your sun, moon, and rising for a full picture of what's going on for you at this time. But thank you, and definitely enjoy your week.